Guys, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about how to care for your bearded dragon. Let's go. Welcome back, guys. In this video we're going to run through everything you need to know about how to care for your bearded dragon. We're going to run through the enclosure, the heating, the lighting, the food, and a whole bunch of tips along the way. Before we start, run down there, hit the thumbs up button, it really does help, and let's start with the enclosure. So here's my enclosure, 4-foot enclosure, which is about the minimum you want for an adult bearded dragon. It's 4 foot wide, it's 2 foot deep, 2 foot tall. That's all you really need to know. This is a custom enclosure. As you can see, we've got that piece of wood going vertical in the middle. That's to help support all the weight that's on top of it. It has ventilation along the whole length of the back, only in the top 1 centimetre. We've got ventilation on the sides to help keep it dry because these do need an arid environment. And to make it a little bit more visually pleasing, full custom background, a few custom ledges and stuff like that. I made them all myself, and I'll stick a card up in the top of how you can make yours. So let's move on to the lighting. You'll see that big light tube at the very back. That's called a Uvb light, a 10.0 or 10% Uvb light. That is necessary for a diurnal animal like a bearded dragon. It'll need to be changed around about every 6 to 9 months because they do wear out. The light doesn't burn out, so you don't know. So you just have to change every 6 to 9 months. This light mimics the ultraviolet lights that come out of the sun. So where these come from, it's very sunny. They get it from the natural habitat. Here in enclosures, they need this light to be able to live. Let's move on to the heating. Now in the enclosures, they need a hot side and a cold side. They're a cold-blooded animal. They thermal regulate, so if they get hot, they go down the cold side. If they get cold, they come up the hot side. If they just want a middle temperature, then they sit in the ambient temperature. Now for the temperatures, my hot side is 110 degrees Fahrenheit. My cold side is 83 degrees Fahrenheit. I control these temperatures using a thermostat. I just set it as an ambient temperature. My thermostat probe is in the middle of the enclosure, so it keeps the ambient temperature. And both the temperature and the lighting needs to be on a 12-hour on, 12-hour off scenario, just so they've got a day and a night routine. I control this using a couple of timers. That's all it is, just 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and I leave them running all the time. Now, around about halfway through the video, if you do enjoy the video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see more content, there's a subscribe button and a bell next to it. Hit them both, just so you know next time I do upload, you'll get notified. So let's go ahead and move on to the feeding. What do you feed your bearded dragon? They need protein, as in live bugs, and salad. Babies require more protein, more bugs, so every day. As adults, they require less bugs and more leaves, more salad. I feed bugs twice a week to my adult bearded dragon. Here's some locusts. These are what I feed. These are the ones I'm breeding, actually, and getting babies from. I also feed Morio worms. That's what you can see right here. Everything you do feed needs to be covered in calcium. You can also feed them dubia roaches, crickets, anything like that. Now for me, with regards to supplements, this is the supplement I use. It's Repti Calcium. They need calcium. This has got vitamin D3 in just as a bit of a boost. Every insect and salad that they do eat gets covered in that. And this is just how I do it. I just sprinkle it into an old cricket keeper tub, as you do just there. As you can see, look, he looks hungry. He's ready for it. He loves his bugs. Then we just get it, shake it around, stick some bugs in there, cover the bugs in the calcium powder, which I'm doing right now. Today I'm going to feed Morio worms because I've got a lot of Morio worms that I've bred and I could do with getting rid of a load of them. I tend to feed around about 6 to 8 to my bearded dragon every other day. Every single day he has got salad, fresh salad and fresh fruit inside his enclosure. And he does love it. It's just he absolutely adores the live food. If you do want to know more about breeding your own live food, I'll stick a card up in the top corner of this video. Just click on that and it'll take you through to a breed your own live food video. So let's move on to the substrate. Now the substrate is just another word for the bedding, really. Let me run through that. I'm going to be playing this little bit of a feeding video on top while I do talk about this, because this is a massively controversial subject. So a lot of people think that the bearded dragons are from deserts and they need to be on sand. That is not correct. Bearded dragons don't come from sand. They come from places like Australia, and I'll put some pictures up right now so you can have a look at their actual natural habitat. So then this is where they live, sort of the grassy, rocky outbacks of Australia. Plenty of little hiding places, plenty of burrows, but there is no loose sand in any of this. Even on the reptile market, there is a product called calcium sand. Don't ever get that, because the animal will ingest it. It can cause impaction in the animal, which will in turn kill the animal. Impaction is where their intestines basically get blocked. A lot of people just use stuff like tiles for their flooring. I don't believe in that sort of stuff. I believe in a biodegradable substrate. So what you see right here is just basically like wooden pellets. It's nothing like the natural enclosure, but this will be getting changed into a bioactive enclosure because I am a massive fan of bioactive enclosures. And then it will have a perfectly replicated substrate from where they would be in the natural habitat. I'm a firm believer that if you are going to use a loose substrate, make sure it's a biodegradable substrate, just so it can pass through the animal if your temperature and your humidity are correct. These animals do need a lowish humidity. Anything above 40% could do with being dragged down a little bit. So if your humidity is a little bit too high, I've got a few hygrometers kicking around built into this background, so I can keep an eye on the humidity, and mine stays level at 27% humidity. So if your humidity is high, mine was high at one point, I just put 2 extra vents into the side of the enclosure, and that helped it perfect. You can add a bag of rice into the corner of the enclosure. I've also got one of them, and it does help lower the humidity. Now, regards a water dish, bearded dragons do not need a water dish. About once a week, I give my bearded dragon a bath. It helps with shedding, helps him grow, and it also keeps his body nice and hydrated. And now that brings us to the end of this video. If it has helped, if you have learnt anything, if you've enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button, like and subscribe to the channel. And if you see the little bell next to the subscribe button, please hit that. That way you get notified every time I do upload a new video. If you want to know more about any of the videos, I'll put some cards up now. Just click on them and it will take you through to another video. Thanks for watching, guys, and peace out.